Okay, go live on YouTube. You are live.
We are
Hi,
live.
YouTube.
Hello.
We are already a few minutes in on Facebook because we're just like setting up stuff. It's quite interesting, like interesting learning experience. We're not live on Instagram today because it was always a little weird how we had the camera somewhere else and we didn't actually look at look at the stream there. And so let's just do Facebook and YouTube today. Mosquitoes.
Mosquito attack.
If you see any like
Sorry.
red dots on my hands or arms or something, it's all mosquito bites. I'm like fully like this is a massive mosquito bite right here. They like me. I'm sweet.
Vittorio De Rico liked something. Us. Likes us. No, I'm just kidding.
Vittorio,
Thank
ciao. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we are supposed to have a guest. We let her know that we started, but I will already give you the introduction a little bit what we're going to talk about today, which is basically the topic of routines. Like last time we spoke about challenges, and challenges are quite often building routines and so on. But this time the meaning of routines that we're talking about is a little different from that last one, and also like to talk about the different definitions of routines because there are different definitions.
Sorry.
I have notes on a pink post-it, which is weird because I really don't like pink, but it's okay. I have my notes.
That is
It's a live stream. It doesn't
Stay
matter.
on track.
You can just talk about stuff. You know.
Yeah, I know, but
there could be like a random person jump in and just like
and wonder what the hell's going on. Yes,
no,
exactly.
I mean, a random person behind us joining in and doing random stuff, and it's fun.
Yeah, but that's it.
So anyway, if you have any questions throughout the stream, please leave some comments, ask us questions, because we are having an eye on everything, sort of. So we will be like able to talk and answer some stuff. So just to build a little background here, we are in Thailand, in the jungle, basically, in a co-working and co-living hub, and it's called Kohub. It's awesome. We're basically here for about a month. Clara a little shorter than that, and we're 3 weeks in. So for Clara, it's almost over. One more week.
A whole week left. It's almost over.
Yeah.
She has 7 days.
I have one and a half weeks roughly left. And then it continues. But it was really awesome here. It's really a cool co-working space. So you can look it up, called Kohub in Koh Lanta in Thailand. Really good experience. Very productive, right? Like you come here and you're more productive than at home.
In the zone.
Yeah.
But it's basically just like it's like an office, but everybody's working independently. But it's really cool because you get to know people and everybody helps each other, and it's and very diverse group. Obviously, you have.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have poker players here right now, but like it could happen. This could be a person that comes here.
Yeah.
And then us and
it's not legal here.
A lot of coding.
We have to mention that now.
Doesn't matter. And coding and stuff. So that's cool.
Somehow the camera is adjusting to like if I move
exposure.
Yeah. So I try and stay in the frame.
Well, you should try and stay in the frame either way.
If I do this,
then you should stay in here anyway.
I just don't want to be like so squished when our guest comes and we're all like
it won't
squishy.
Be squished. She has like a square meter over here. So much space.
And she's tiny as well, so she will have space.
Also, we're filming this coconut today. Wait.
Hello. It looks really good. Okay, so that's because the reason why I wanted to talk about routines is because Clara and I had an interesting conversation the other day, almost like a short argument about about the topic of routines, because I mean, again, like it's difficult how to explain the term routines, but for me, I'm freaking out if every day is the same. And it's something after my glasses are steaming up. After it's very warm here. After having been in a 9 to 5 for like 14 years or something, and despite it being a cool job, still I'm almost scared of having this kind of routine again, that I wriggled myself out of that and have like my location independent stuff going on. Things like it's beautiful not to have to set your alarm and just get up whenever you want, because I'm not used to that. Funny thing is I always wake up at 6:30 anyway. so it's a bit of a funny one. but then having like 1 month basically the same way to walk from the apartments here to the office is
It
already
is an office. No.
yeah, it's an office. The office.
She doesn't want to hear it, but it is an office.
So just this walk, the same way, the same, the same way to walk along the same road like twice a day is already like creating a little bit of a anxiety with me, because that's why I invented like last week this little challenge that we said, let's go a bit more consciously about and try and see some different things and beautiful things, take some pictures and put them on Instagram so that we see the differences in this very same kind of way to work and to the office. I, by the way, just fell off the wagon yesterday with the
You did as well? Everybody stopped.
I was doing really good like for 5 days, and then on the 6th day,
Maybe because you already knew you won, because everyone else had.
it's not about winning.
Not really a challenge.
It wasn't about winning though. It was just about
but it was like, yes, it was about winning. It's a
No.
challenge.
It was
Yeah,
but with
all
yourself. It was about going to work more consciously and having your
Yeah, and
eyes
you did
open
it.
and see. Yeah, and I did that.
So it didn't fall
Yeah.
off the wagon.
Yeah, I just basically didn't do it yesterday and today as much. But so that did help me to have this like constant same thing of having the same road to work with like the same weird grass patch that I'm scared of stepping in because I'm wearing sandals and maybe there's poop or like a snake or something, and like the tuk-tuk drivers that just constantly offer you like it's just the same experience, and that is for me already something to freak me out. It's difficult though, because I want to be able to have these 1 or 2 months stays in different locations. So I have to somehow get used to this kind of stuff, or make sure in other instances that I get like a scooter or something, or a little motorbike, so I'm a bit more mobile and actually can see a little bit of different stuff. So when I was mentioning that to Clara, that I'm freaking out about the same stuff, she basically says like she's looking forward to that. She likes the routine, because normally her life is not like that, right?
Yeah, that, and also I think it's just what there's a preference. It's like being extroverted and introverted. I mean, that's a theory of mine. I don't know if it's true, but I think it's like being extroverted and introverted. Either you like to do, like I was always a child when I was like younger. I would always order the same food. If I went to a restaurant, I figured out what kind of food I liked. Like we went to the same place every Friday, to a Chinese restaurant, and I figured out one food I liked, and since then I never ordered anything else ever again, because I just like it. And why would I try and like, it's not like I don't try to do new things. I like that too, but if I do find something that I really like, I stick to it. I don't want to try anything else. Like, I already found something I liked. Why would I try?
This is an important one though, because that's a different, like there's like these nuances in the definition of routine, right? Because like I have that as well. Like there's specifically there's one restaurant in Germany where since 1984 I eat exactly the same dish. And the restaurant still exists, and every time I go, I order exactly the same thing.
It still tastes the same?
It's a lasagna. Yeah, it's still the same. It tastes amazing. Best lasagna I ever had anywhere in the world. So I get that. So that's basically a routine in a way as well, where you just go for the familiar, right? But basically what the interesting part is like this daily routine kind of thing, where because you didn't have a 9 to 5 before, right? You don't know how like caging this feeling can be, to every day you have to get up at the same time, you have to be at your desk at the same time. So that's why I have this urge to get out of it.
The only normal job I ever had was being a kindergarten teacher, and that was not the same every day. I did have anxiety about going to work though, I can tell you that much. Like children screaming, parents being annoying, parents being very annoying.
Yeah, but like here you have your alarm set at the same time every day, haven't you? Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't set my alarm because I don't want to.
I actually started using this feature from Apple where you have your daily thing and it just rings every day I had it at 9 a.m. but now yesterday I shifted it to 8 a.m. so I'm trying to get up earlier.
I don't know what that is. What is it?
Well, it's like when you go into your what's it called? This alarm. Then you have like, you can have a bedtime thingy. And then it just kind of shows you like a little, but you can plan out and then wake up, and you can have that every day. But I mean, it's just a bedtime schedule is what it's called.
That won't work for me.
I mean, you can also use your normal alarms. I have those too.
Yeah.
But this alarm is a little bit less like loud.
But is
and
this something you
it's
did
good.
before you came here, that you
Yeah,
had your
I
alarm at the same time?
Not really. It's because with the traveling, it's kind of hard to wake up at the same time. It depends which side of the world I'm like. I feel like when I'm in Asia, I wake up earlier usually than if I'm in Europe. I usually tend to be like a person that likes to get up later. I don't know.
That's
It's
interesting.
strange. Not much, but like in half an hour, 1 hour later.
By the way, did you let Adela know?
I let her know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the stuff like so I'm at the moment. I'm just totally enjoying not setting my alarm. The weird thing is that I wake up anyway at 6:30 because I think like it's so ingrained in my system to get up at a certain time that I just can't have like proper sleep in.
So did you always get up at 6:30?
No. Well, it's
Okay.
like for work, obviously the alarm.
Yeah.
But normally I actually got up earlier, like for work. Like the alarm went at like 5 or something.
So that's why you wake up at 6:30, because it's half an hour after your usual alarm.
1.5 hours. Yeah. But I want to be able to sleep in, especially if I go to bed at like midnight. I don't want to wake up at 6. Like I want to get some sleep because I need so much rest. And then I never have like nice sleep either. I constantly wake up and so on. So that's not good for my energy. So I want to be able on a Sunday like today to sleep in and wake up at 10. That would be amazing.
See, I cannot relate to sleep problems. I think I'm one of the fortunate few in the world because everyone I know, when I tell them I can always fall asleep, it doesn't matter if I'm tired or not, because people always complain about jet lag, and I was like, I'll just go to sleep anyway. I don't care if I'm tired, and I can also get up anytime, even if I'm working and I only get 4 hours of sleep and I know I have to go to work. It's not very hard for me to shift the cycle and just sleep less, sleep more. I don't care. For me, I don't know why it's so easy for me. It's some sort of like a talent.
Yeah, it's a nice thing, to be honest.
But I wonder if there's some if you could train it in a certain way. I'm sure there's research about how.
Yeah. It's also, you never know with MS how much that is a factor. Because I'm just a bad sleeper, and that's could be just an MS symptom.
Yeah, but then you give the MS control over.
No, I'm just saying it's just something.
I'm saying you should maybe try to figure out first if it could be something else.
I did
and then
so
the MS should be the last explanation point.
You always just have to have it in the back of my mind. It could be simply a symptom, and then that's it. But I tried so many things. But that's why I would find it interesting to have one of those rings that actually track. Because if I do the app, and I can't really tell it how I'm sleeping, right? Because how does the phone know how my sleep is? So if it tells me, oh yeah, you got your 6 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep, so get up now, and then the alarm goes, that doesn't do anything because maybe I have slept 3 hours because I've been up all night. So a ring like that might make a lot of sense. But we're getting off topic a little bit. The thing is I don't have a problem getting up either. That's something I can actually do fairly well.
But if you wake up at 6:30 and then you cannot fall asleep anymore.
No.
That's so weird.
That's why if somebody wakes me up in the middle of the night at 3, I might just be up. Yeah, so it's really I have a really bad sleep.
But don't you what do you do if somebody does wake you up? Do you immediately close your eyes again and try to go back to sleep, or do you get your phone and start? And
normally I don't get the phone. I would get the phone if after an hour I still haven't fallen asleep again. Then I get the phone and go, let's do something, and then switch it off and try it again. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, so after I wake up though, and that now it can be at any point really. I then have a daily morning routine that I follow. So it basically gives me a routine that makes me feel like I've accomplished something for the day, and I feel good going into the other stuff that will come during the day, which is not necessarily following a routine. So and this is for me usually some meditation, some yoga. I do a little bit of reading. I do my planning for the day, and then I basically conquer the day. Do you have a morning routine?
No.
You rather
answer.
You rather have an evening routine, right?
Yes. I'm trying to have a morning. I had a morning routine for a while, but I think I need help with that. It's I want to do yoga every day in the morning, but I can only really do that with a teacher, because if I just do it on my own, I won't be very motivated, and I'll just do the poses kind of. So it doesn't really. I think I really need like a trainer. Is it raining?
I think it starts raining.
Blowing rain. But yeah, evening routine. I do have an evening routine, but also not very like I watch Netflix. I meditate, and
That's not a routine. Watching Netflix.
yes, it is. I have to watch one episode of something in the evening. But I also now newly think I started to say I'm not supposed to watch more than one. So I'm supposed to watch one episode and turn it off.
Routine,
no binging.
Yeah.
Because like usually that's from 10 to 11 I watch it, and then from 11 to 1:15, 1:30 I meditate, and then I try to wind down to fall asleep. If I can't fall asleep right away, I listen to an audiobook or a podcast or to try and like not look at my like actually just listen to something.
Yeah.
And my actual secret, if I have like a little bit of a hard time falling asleep, I turn on a philosophy book, which is super interesting, but I think because it's kind of complicated sometimes when you listen to it strains your brain, and then after a while it's just like it makes you tired, and you also his voice is just very soothing.
Like my evening routine, that's the part I'm a bit sad, because like if I have like a functioning morning routine, which I have now and I'm happy about, and a functioning evening routine, then it's almost like it doesn't matter what happens during the day, chaos wise, because I have like my stable thing in the start, my stable thing in the beginning, and that's it. But the evening when I don't have down yet, and that might be a reason as well that I'm not sleeping very well, because I should probably try and get that improved
to wind down.
Yeah, so it's like it should be a little bit of yoga, should be a little bit of meditation, maybe a little bit of reading, and then I also listen usually to an audiobook, but I like fiction there because it's just like you just draw your pictures in your head and then at some point fall asleep. Right, I don't know of our
sorry, there was something big and scary.
It's like a hornet, I think.
Yeah,
I saw it over there. So because it starts raining now, the hornets are coming here.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like a huge mosquito, and I was just like, is that a mosquito?
Yes, some spray if you want to. Like, some spray.
I'm super scared.
Okay, I'm not sure if our guest is coming.
No, I think it's raining now. I don't think anyone is coming.
And we're stuck here probably because we can't go with the equipment back inside now. We'll manage.
No, I have an umbrella, like a really small one, but it's not raining that strongly yet. If we wrap this up, maybe we can make it.
No, we just started.
What? Damn it.
Okay, so because I have notes, I can actually, I'm professional like that. So we talked about like where I have more like the craving to have like less routine, and you have a craving almost to create a little more routine in a day-to-day thing. One little example that I told you as well about was like when I had my apprenticeship back in Germany. It was like 3 years in the same company, and I had it was like 15-minute drive with my car every day. And at some point I was going so crazy. So that was like 2000, like the year 2000 roughly. I was going so crazy about like having the exact same drive to work, sometimes being stuck at the same traffic light with the same car in front of me as the day before. And then
that's funny.
Yeah, and then something just clicked in my head, like I can't do this. So then I started just doing completely different ways to work, like sometimes taking like 20-30 minutes just so I don't have to have exactly the same thing every morning. I don't know why that
might already be a mental disorder. No, sorry. But if that's like the definition of if something is a mental disorder, if it affects your life in a negative way, you're taking longer to work. Yeah. Isn't that like?
No, I see different things. I get different inspirations. No. I see different cars.
Okay, so you're enjoying
houses
and going the other way. Okay, then it's not a problem.
That's exactly what the Instagram challenge what I meant, because that way you see things differently. You see different things. You get different inspirations for the day, different input. Because if it's exactly the same, then that was the thing when I had the same car in front of me, the traffic light. That was like the moment. Was like, whoa, now I'm freaking out. And again, I sang the song for you. I'm not going to sing it now, but like there's a song from Blur called Ernal Same. Have a listen to that. It encapsulates the feeling really well of having the same day over and over and over and over and over, and it will never end. And it is for me that's like super scary, basically. Okay. If you consider though that a routine as such is scary and for somebody like me very uncomfortable, then how come that is the case and people like me exist? Because the universe, right? So bear with me. The universe is chaos, right? The whole universe is chaos.
I think it just looks like
But
chaos. It's not
the
chaos.
solar system that we're part of is a routine, right? And that gives us a routine. Like
I think everything is a routine. It just looks like chaos because we don't understand.
hang on, let me get my so our solar system is providing us with a routine that we just have to. There's no way out, right? It's like we have the seasons, we have the days. The day is that long. The sun is going up and then it's going down, and then it's winter and
then there's rain.
Yeah, and it's just what it is, right? So there is a routine that is just given to us, and we cannot get out of that like at all. So that's a super interesting thing. So why is there then in some people this urge to not follow a routine if this is something that is so universal in a way, right? So I find that quite an interesting thought. Basically, I want chaos while being in a universal routine. And because I don't believe in God, some people say it's a God-given routine. It's like, nah, I'm not there. But yeah, it's weird, right? Our guest is coming.
Oh, I just saw the message.
You said no.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I will catch you up. I can catch you up.
Yes.
And then,
Hi.
guys,
Hi.
look,
Adela again.
we have Adela here, who was here last week as well. No, don't
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just like I need a bit of. Okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, we have Adela here as well from last week as well. When we were talking about challenges, and today we're talking about routines. So at the moment we were talking about how I'm weird, basically, by not. She said I have a mental disorder, so there we go.
Very good.
So, because I'm freaking out if every day is the same. Like if like just away from the apartments here, just this 10-minute walk, it already freaks me out. After 2 weeks, basically, I felt like I have to do something to make it more interesting. That's why I did the Instagram challenge to say I will walk with my eyes more open and look at more details so that it's not exactly the same and not too boring. And we just and then Clara, on the other hand, is somebody who has never had like a 9-to-5 proper routine life. So she is more like actually craving a bit more of a routine on a daily basis. And so the last point I just made was I was talking about the universe. That the universe is chaos, but our solar system is a routine that we're all part of and we can't really get out of. So it's strange that we're not all made that way, that we want to follow that routine, but like some of us freak out a little bit with certain routines. So that was like the last thing I threw in there, and I think I broke Clara with that.
No, I just think that chaos is also a routine. We just don't understand.
This is also possible.
Like I think it all makes sense. You just have to be far away enough, and sometimes you cannot go far away enough because you're just a little human.
But it's true that some people feel more comfortable with stability and some people feel more comfortable with flexibility. And yes, hello. I find it interesting. Like there is a theory in anthropology that we actually humans descend from different human tribes, right? Like there's not like one chain of development and different ones. And if you think at it from this point of view, like if the modern human who maybe genetically descend from nomads, then it's really implanted inside of your DNA that the key for survival is to always keep moving, sorry, I just new to this, and to keep a flexibility and be adaptable, right? And routine or being in the same place was dead. But people who maybe come from more sedentary primitive human tribes, they had to stay, I don't know, near the river and far from the lions or whatever. So I like to think it from this point of view. Like maybe there is something wired inside of us that tells us. But it's, I don't know. For example, I think it helps me to have a routine, but I get tired of one routine really quickly, so
Yeah.
I need to change it.
If you're like in something like this where you go, I don't know, where are you staying? You're not in the apartments.
No, I moved to the apartment in 2 days, but right now
Okay.
I'm like across the road.
Okay, so that's not really that won't cause like a routine freak out because it's just across the road, right? But it's like if you're in a place where you have to walk like let's say 10-15 minutes to work, how long do you think would it take you to get a bit
Sick of it.
anxious or
I don't
uneasy?
think it's about the small things. It's more because if it's just like this gesture of coming to work, it's more about if every day looks the same as the day before, right? And you get into a loop where it seems like you're not learning anything
Yeah.
and you're not growing at all. And this is
You're
when I
just
actually freak
functioning.
out. Like, I think I like to solve problems. So it happened to me my whole life. Like, the minute I already know everything that there is to know, I am bored and disengaged, and I need to be challenged somehow.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with routine. If I know exactly what's going to happen, then I mean, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out because again, this kind of life is quite new to me that I don't have to set an alarm and so this is an important experience for me having a month here. And now after like a bit over 2 weeks or something, I realized, okay, I cannot deal with the same walkway.
Okay.
So that's an important thing for me to
So
learn.
what are you doing? Are you like trying to get like a different way, or?
Well, I would if it wasn't that hot. Because I was just saying it when I was like when I still had a car and I was in an apprenticeship, I was actually driving different ways then every day. So I
Wow,
have a
that's
bit of
so interesting.
different insights, different experiences
What
every
if
day.
you come at different times of the day? Does it give you the same thing? For example, if you're doing the same walkway, but maybe some days you're starting at 8, some days you're starting
that's
at
obviously
10.
that's here not that big. That was back in the days when I had the apprenticeship because my boss was expecting me to be at my desk at 8 in the morning, and if I wasn't at my desk, I got shouted at. So I had to be in the
Fun
same
times.
spot, exactly the same place. So I tried to create some difference by just taking different routes to work, basically.
But I mean now,
No,
like,
now
do you still feel that kind of routine anxiety if you don't come at the exact same time?
no. Actually, I do because like it's just
I
it's
think
a
here
small,
it just doesn't change so much. That's
Yeah.
why. Maybe.
But that's why one of the
The
days
weather.
I had a massage and then I walked along the beach to come here, just to have a bit of
You
a
can go
different.
to the gym in the morning, maybe.
Yeah. But then I still have to walk here, so it's still like
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter like which time of the day. So it's like if it's the same exactly.
But you're walking
the same,
from the gym. The gym is in a different place. No?
Well, I would go to the WM and then I would have to go home and shower and dress and then walk the same way. So it's just like adding
Yeah.
something before it.
Okay.
No, it's for me. It's like this. I like just seeing things. I like being in a like if I'm in a like car or bus or train. I just like looking out the window and seeing things. But if it's always the same, then it just doesn't give me anything. So, and once we go, like we said like we had like this weird little concrete car that they started painting and so on. So we saw a little bit of something going on, some changes there, but that's about it. Otherwise, every day was
Yeah,
the
I think in
same.
your case it's also the fact that when you have the package and you
Eat.
feel like you need to come here to eat,
Yeah.
there is like an inherent restriction in the fact of working here. Like
Yeah, exactly.
maybe
have to come.
if you could choose in the morning, like, oh, I'm choosing to go to the hub, or I'm choosing to go for breakfast, or I'm choosing to do. I think maybe it's not so much the routine, but it's like, like the restriction, like it's a decision
Yeah.
that's been made in advance.
So just
somehow.
to explain that, so the place where we're at right now, like you can have different memberships here in this co-working space, and one of them is that you have your accommodation and also 2 meals included. So, and because you have the 2 meals included, you don't actually need to eat anywhere else all day, right? So maybe an option would be if we do this again to have one of those rooms with a kitchen. And just like make your breakfast yourself, and then just go out and explore for lunch and dinner, and go to different places and have that as an option.
So you get one package and not 2, and then
Or
one
that,
meal
yeah,
a day
exactly,
you
yeah.
take 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see like a few months down the line if as soon as I'm in different places. Like next, I'm going to Vietnam, but I don't think I'm going to have a routine there because I will be a couple of days. I'm going to go to an office, but a couple of days I'm doing sightseeing, and a couple of days I'll just be in my hotel doing work there. So I don't think I will have that problem. basically, like just thinking, I think up until January, when I'm living at my brother's place in Hanover, that I have like a month in one place that might become quite routinic.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not going anywhere. So it's a bit like, it's going to be interesting, but it's just something I'm watching myself. Like, why am I getting so anxious if everything is the same?
Yeah.
And how can I break out of that and make it more interesting? So the Instagram challenge, I fell off yesterday, by the way, but like Instagram challenge.
Yeah, I
was
did
one of them.
Everybody stopped.
But yeah, well, that's one thing why I'm like vlogging and so on, because I'm actually talking and just explaining things. And then when I realize that things are a bit too same, and I'm saying the same thing, then I try and make something happen to make it a bit more interesting for myself and for the people that are watching the vlog as well. But yeah, what do you think all this might have to do with being a control freak or being a bit more like YOLO?
Oh, that's definitely a big part. I feel like you know how the different characters from Winnie the Pooh have different.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're a little bit Piglet, like
You know that
anxious.
they're supposed to represent like
not because of the
health issues or something.
That was a good.
Piglet is depression. That's
No,
emo.
yeah.
Piglet is social anxiety.
Yeah, not social. He's like in general, he's always anxious that something's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's gonna rain, or maybe I shouldn't go outside because it might rain. It's like this.
Yeah, they're supposed to, all of them to be one like mental health disorder. Like
Yeah.
Tigger is ADHD.
Yeah.
And Eeyore is depression.
Actually,
and
I think
don't
I have
remember
to
which
watch
one
Winnie
is
Pooh
one.
again. I've
but-
never saw
Yeah.
it from. I
Yeah.
only saw it as a kid. I never like.
So it's
But they were
definitely,
supposed to
like,
bring. I mean, I don't know
To
if this is like
explain, maybe.
like some sort of a conspiracy theory or
Actually,
there's like an
control
actual
freak
base.
is the rabbit. That's the
Ah.
control freak. Like it has to be this time.
And
Yeah, but
then,
that's the thing. Like, because I always feel like I'm a control freak when it comes to a lot of things.
Hmm.
But then,
But then you want chaos.
yeah, but so that's super weird. And it's like, but it's almost like I want to be in control of my chaos.
but there's always the balance required. I think we all need a balance, and then you find it on different ways. Like, for example, I tend to be very control freak or very anal even in my work, right? And then
Hmm.
I found that the way for me to compensate that is in my life, like personal life, I'm very like, nonchalant, like whatever, we made all this plan and nothing worked out, well, whatever. But if at work, I'm completely different. I'm
Yeah.
super detail oriented and such. I will not know then how to answer that, because when I first started traveling, I was so happy to break off the routine, right? And eventually it became harder. And now I'm at a point that I think I need some routine,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
where I'm. That's good.
Yeah, and you said as well, like when we were like, because like sometimes in the morning I go, okay, today we should do this and this and this, and it goes like through a list, and then Clara is like, whatever, it's
Yeah,
like,
because it's not gonna happen this way anyway. That's what I feel like. It's like, yeah, okay.
most of
whatever.
the time it
well, it
is.
never matters. It's good to have a plan.
Yeah, I know.
But,
Yeah, no. I don't like plans. They never work out.
And
I like to
love
just.
planning.
Yeah, I don't.
The beauty is like if you make a plan and then you can go away from it, but at least you know roughly like what you're in for the day and what you're looking for, and then you can always say, I know this is a plan, but let's do this instead,
Yeah.
which is always fine,
It's
Yeah.
like a roadmap, right? Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
you have the map, you're following Google Maps, but then you want to stop for a donut and a
Yeah,
coffee. I don't
exactly.
know, but you
It's the
still know
only-
the direction.
The only
Yeah.
time when there's a deadline for something, then
Yeah,
then
that
it's
is-
like, okay, yeah, we have to.
That's what I like. I like actually for me, it's really annoying when I guess I do like plans a little bit. Like if somebody wants to go out, I like it when people tell me in advance I want to leave at noon. Like I had a problem with some people. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, let's go out." Like they just want to go out right now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get my stuff. Like I need my phone. This is like I need at least give me 10 minutes in
Put a
advance.
bit of
Like you have
makeup
to
on.
tell me like at least 10 minutes in advance. And like preferably I like when you like as well when you tell me, okay, let's eat at 3:30. You want to join me? And then I'll say yes, and then I can plan in advance that
yeah.
I'll be ready at this time. I don't like it when people are like, let's go now. It's like, no, I'm not that
Yeah, and that's-
spontaneous.
and I love
It's like, I can just go now without anything.
I
I'll
like
forget
doing that as well,
everything.
because once we decide, okay, let's eat at like 3:30 or something, then I know, okay, what kind of tasks do I have now that fit in that time frame that I can actually finish, right? Because then I know we have to eat at some point. So
I just stop my task in the middle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So some tasks I can't really stop because then there's no point in even starting them. So then I try, and if I have half an hour, I do rather that task. If I have like 3 hours, then I do that task. You know? So yeah, planning is quite nice.
This might be the German in you guys, also.
But I do feel like I just stop in the middle of almost every task. There's just a few things where it's not nice to stop immediately in the middle when you're tweaking something.
I like this too. I mean,
to plan. Yeah.
I've always felt like I had the soul of a German person because it's just
German soul.
like I like to. I mean, I don't mind to be spontaneous, but if I have a timeline, I want to really follow it. So for me, living in Spain was really rough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then living in the Middle East was even more rough because, there's like timelines and deadlines. It's like in Middle East, especially, like when you ask for a deadline, they always tell you tomorrow, inshallah, which means God willing. And inshallah,
if God's so
is justifiable for something taking a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Like there's no accountability whatsoever.
Oh no, that's horrible.
I was telling the other day, I was telling the story when I was in Greece, and we were driving around, like we were on a road trip, and we were like driving through the mountains for hours, and we didn't see a house, we didn't see a human, we didn't see a car. And at some point we were like, what if we break down now, in the middle of the mountains? And it's like, how? And there was no cell. We had an old like Nokia phone, and it's like what? There was no reception. It's like, so what do we do all of a sudden if something happens, right? And then at some point,
Dana.
Hey. And at some point, we saw a sign for a bus stop, and then we just stopped and went to the bus stop, and it was like there was no timetable, right? So no indication whatsoever when a bus would stop.
Yeah.
In that random place in the Greek mountains. And then when we would get to the next village, we asked them and said, so how does it work? Like, when do the buses go? And then we're like, oh, you go and wait, and if no bus comes, you come back the next day.
You come back the next day.
Yeah, it's fine. Just waste a day standing at the bus stop in the mountains. It's like, so that was quite scary.
Horrible.
So we decided to make sure that we always try and be where there's cell phone reception. So it's a bit spooky. Okay, so it's basically already the last thing I wanted to talk about, because as an example of finding a balance between routine and organized chaos, let's say. And I know that I constantly bring it up, but it's because it was such an important part of my life, is CrossFit. Because what CrossFit does is it preaches to make sure you have a routine when it comes to the workout, so that you actually go to the gym and go. Get the mosquito!
Killed it.
So you go to the gym 5-6 times a week or something. It's like that is the routine, and who knows?
It's my blood, probably.
Whose blood that is?
Well, probably mine.
It's probably from a cat or something, or like a lizard.
Ah, it's okay.
Anyway, okay, so so if you follow like a workout routine, which CrossFit obviously is, and you go on like 5-6 times a week, you go to the gym, you have this structure, like this construct of going to the gym and making that a routine. And that is super important if you want to be fit and healthy, to build a routine to work out, right? But then CrossFit has this thing that every single day is different. So they say that it's constantly varied exercises, right? So you go the same time of the day probably, and you go to the same place, but then you get there and everything is different. And that is something I find fascinating, and I find a really good example for balance for these two things, just as the universe and the solar system. Do you guys have anything you would like to add to this? Because otherwise I have a final word already.
Oh,
we look cute.
Ah,
thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your
name. Yeah, I
name.
don't know either, to be honest. I'm sorry.
We're all cute.
Thank you.
Cute and dumb. We can't pronounce names.
I don't know. I think routines are very important. You definitely get much more done when you have like some sort of routine.
Yeah.
I think what everyone can do, and like small things is start with diet and maybe some sort of exercise. It doesn't even have to be every day, right? Like twice or three times, whatever, or even anything. Just make plans to talk to your mother once a week, like whatever thing that is easy, and start, because the chaos, unorganized chaos, can get really easy.
Once you
And-
fall down that
Yeah, it
trap,
doesn't really. It doesn't produce much.
And maybe you produce, but you don't know how much you're producing. It's very difficult to be aware of what's going on in your life when you don't have
Yeah.
a routine.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting
If you have
thing as well.
progress, like
Yeah.
to track the.
There's quite a few quotes when you look around about like that creativity only really follows out of chaos, right? So it's like that's again like something where it gets like
It's a dengue season.
because we're all like creative people sitting here, like the three of us, and it's just like knowing that we want to be creative, it almost needs a certain aspect of chaos in order for us to actually grow out of it with creativity.
Yeah, but if everything is chaos, you exhaust your brain, and there is no room left for creativity. So actually, when the everyday necessary task, you bring some routine to them, then you allow all of this creative flow to focus on things that should actually be
Yeah.
creative. Should not be creative with, I don't know, food and exercise and brushing your teeth and doing your taxes. I don't know, like that requires some sort of routine. And the minute you have a routine, this becomes like automatic, and it's way easier. Like
Yeah.
your brain just knows this is
Exactly,
what
yeah.
comes next. And sorry, I keep doing the same thing. So
It's fine.
sorry. I said, just in case you hear an earthquake, that when something becomes routine, then it is almost automatic,
Yeah.
and it requires a
That's-
lot less effort from
That's
you.
a really
to
good
do
point.
It.
Yeah, once you make something a routine, you don't have to really think about it. It just happens, and you can focus on the actual creative stuff.
Maybe
And
you can do like a very short 5-10 minutes like meditation when you're walking here.
I actually did that the other day to do something different. But like when I walk with Clara, obviously we're having a lot of conversations. But like one of the days that I
We
was
live here
walking,
now.
I was like, I'm either listening to podcasts, or one of the days I did a walking meditation as well. But the thing is, like, I think this all makes a lot of sense now, because what I do is, and I said that earlier, I have a good morning routine that I'm quite happy about. So I'm building a framework that I can then have creativity inside of that. Like I built this, okay, this is my morning, this is my evening, there's some food breaks in between, and everything in there can be creative. And this is actually quite a nice way of phrasing this. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think I'm okay.
Or do you want to like run
I
away
see the
from
sun.
the rain? It's a bit of sun coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would like to finish with I found a couple of quotes around this, but I actually wanted to make up my own quote.
Yeah.
New quote.
Okay. So my quote is, "It's about finding our varied life in the structure that the world provides us with. The main thing is that we show up." So it's a bit of the CrossFit thing, have it varied inside the structure. The main thing is that you show up, do it, do the work, and be creative and be productive and all that.
Yay!
Yay.
All right. We say goodbye,
Goodbye.
YouTube. Goodbye,
But
Facebook.
but it's
Goodbye.
there as well.
Goodbye, Facebook.
We're just watching the
Yeah,
comments.
it's like, sorry. Goodbye, Facebook. Goodbye, YouTube. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
watching. Also, there's a new podcast coming out tomorrow, so make sure to go to iTunes. It will be here as well on YouTube. So for you Facebook guys, it will be also on YouTube. It's a podcast about what did I record the podcast about? I forgot. Oh yeah, digital declutter. That's the topic. And on Wednesday is going to be the next Follow My Week vlog, edited by this beautiful lady here. So make sure to tune in here on YouTube. Hit subscribe so you get notifications. Oh yeah, the little bell, the bell. You get notifications. Bye.
Bye. The bell.
The bell.
Ring, ring.